This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jim Schaller.
Welcome, good neighbors, to episode number 51 of the Good Neighbor Podcast Estero. Today we have good neighbor Jason LeMay from Site Solutions joining us. Jason, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a pleasure getting to know people out in the community and learn a little bit more about their businesses. So let's jump right in. And why don't we start by sharing a little bit about Site Solutions and what you guys do over there?
So we do a lot of custom audio video stuff. I do a lot of stuff in the lighting world too. I do these lighting systems where you can control everything from your phone or a keypad on the wall. You can control your lights anywhere in the world. Motorized shades, audio, video, dedicated home theaters. And I have a bit of a knack because I've been doing this for a couple of decades now, where I understand the old technology, the analog technology from yesterday, and how to make that new and fresh into the digital world that we are living in now. Right. So there's not a lot of guys out there that have that type of experience or have that understanding. And so that's something that we bring to the table that other technology companies do not.
And that is great. Technology is a great thing, but along with it brings a lot of, I want to say, confusion on people's parts. So people like you are certainly a help at doing things. So how, you said you were in this industry for a couple of decades now. How did you start off in this industry? How did you get involved?
So right out of high school, I decided to go to work instead of going to college. I was married young with two children, and I had to put food on the table. So I quickly realized that regular jobs weren't going to cut it. So I decided to look for a trade. And I met this great gentleman named Fred, and he gave me an opportunity to become an electrician. And so I started as an electrician, roughing luxury custom homes here in Naples, 10,000 square foot, 15,000 square foot houses. I was running the wires, the high voltage wires inside of it. And that's where I started to learn the lighting systems. The lighting systems then grew into the automation stuff and the audio video and that type of thing. And so eventually I migrated out of being an electrician and more into the technology side of these homes, these residential homes.
Interesting. That is, and how did you go about starting your own business from that?
So after years and years of working for lots of other people, I'm very well-rounded. I was a project manager and operations manager for one of the largest AV companies in the United States. I was in Los Angeles for 5 or 6 years doing that. And Naples happens to be my home. I was born and raised here. So when I moved back, I decided that I was going to start building to open my own company. And after working for a couple other companies here for a few years, I just went and out of pure grit, just decided to start my own business. The fun story with that one is I had $5,000 in my bank account. I had no job, no paychecks, no contracts, no nothing. And I said, I'm going to go into business for myself. And I quickly realized that I had to work. And so I did. And I was by myself for the first 2 years. And we now have my wife involved, and she's been with us now 2 years. And I have a couple of fantastic employees, and we're growing. We just moved to a new location. So yeah, we're doing well.
And those are some of the best stories. And literally starting from the bottom and with a vision, and making it happen yourself. And that's the best feeling as a business owner too. I love that. So speaking along those lines, we've all kind of had some challenges along our way that maybe put us in a better position today, or we're better because of it. Is there something along your journey that's maybe made you a better person today?
Well, so as a young man, I like I said, I grew up here in Naples, and at one point, my mom was a single mom, and we moved to a little city called Copeland, which is outside of Everglades City. And for 4 years, I went to school in Everglades City. I went to middle school and high school. And back then, it was the Wild Wild West. I mean, I lived down there during Operation Everglades, where the DEA came in and raided, all the houses and arrested everybody on drug busts and all this stuff. So it was quite the experience. And growing up there, it really gave me grit, right? It gave me a level of earnest that you just don't get any other place than a place like Everglades City.
That is great. That is great. And it's made you a great person today. So along the industry lines, are there any myths or maybe misconceptions that we could kind of bust for our listeners that are involved?
Well, technology, everybody thinks technology is simple. And it is if you know how to do it properly, right? So there's steps. There are things that you have to do. And so people think they can just go to Best Buy or they can go to Costco and they can buy a TV and it's the same TV that somebody like me sells. And that's not entirely true at all. There's consumer grade electronics and then there's professional grade electronics. We only provide professional electronics, professional grade, and not the stuff, Ring cameras and cloud-based stuff. I'm a big proponent of not having to rent your own stuff, right? Because that's basically what we're doing. So I think the challenge is having clients understand what we provide in a level of quality versus the Costco plastic thing that they saw on the shelf that they think is cool that they want at their house.
Yeah, do you get what you pay for at the end of the day? And then
you do.
That's the biggest thing. So are you noticing any kind of trends in the industry currently?
Voice is a big thing. Voice control. We're doing now some, I won't say privatized, but they're kind of private ecosystem voice control systems. Siri and Google and, all those other ones that are Alexa. All of those currently sell your data, right? They're mining your information. So we sell another system called Josh, and Josh doesn't do any of that mining. And it's all kind of proprietary and it's all set inside, and it's geared just towards the consumer electronics industry. And so you don't have to worry about whether or not your information's being leaked, and you're not going to get served up an ad because you were talking about something and at Home Depot, and then all of a sudden, boom, you get a Home Depot ad. We don't play those games. We like to privatize that stuff.
That's a good thing to know, because somebody out there is always listening, right?
There's one other thing too that's a big thing, and I want to hit on is lighting. Lighting today, the big thing right now is circadian rhythms, right? So we're learning that back in the caveman days, right, or even farming and whatnot, people would get up when the sun came up, they would go to bed when the sun came down, and there's a ton of health benefits to that whole rhythm of the day, right? And we are now able to run these programs inside your house that mimic sunrise, highlight of the day, and then all the way back down to sunset, so that your body actually will wake up the proper way and go to sleep the proper way. So that's something that is also really neat. That's some new technology that we're tapping into. That's really important for health and wellness.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's this time of year that I get a little down because the sun's not up as much as I'd like it to be.
And we could mimic summer all year round in your house.
I'd be happy with that. Totally happy with that. So speaking of the weather down here, we live in Southwest Florida. What do you do as a business owner? I know you're busy, but what do you do outside of work?
I am a huge scuba guy, right? So I love to scuba dive. I am a technical scuba diver. I am a rebreather scuba diver. I do lots of fun, crazy dives. I like to go down into the deep, dark areas of wrecks. I spend a lot of time in the Keys diving, the Spiegel Grove, the Vandenberg, and we're going into the engine rooms. We're doing all that kind of stuff, just wild stuff. I spearfish. That's something else I love to do. Also scuba diving, right? And and then I'm an avid fisherman as well. I don't get to go fishing as much as I used to, but I spend more of my time underwater these days than on top on the boat. But I love to fish, and I love to scuba dive.
Definitely,
of course,
definitely a waterman, huh?
Yeah, and of course, hanging out with the wife and the family.
There you go. That's always important. Gotta include them as well.
Yep.
So, are there any last things that maybe our listeners should know about Site Solutions that maybe they don't know?
Well, I think one of the key things that I like to pride myself in that I like people to know is that when you call me, actually pick up my phone. I hear all the time how I try to get a hold of this guy and he's not calling me back. And, if I don't answer my phone immediately or answer a text immediately, I do my best to respond by the end of the day. There's not a lot of guys that do that. And that's just one of those things that I understand from a service standpoint that people want, right? You don't need a 85-inch television and a awesome surround sound and control your whole house with your phone, right? Nobody needs that. That's a want, right? And so I provide a service for the people that want that type of thing. And so I make sure they're taken care of because I also understand that technology can be confusing to some people that don't understand it. And so I'm available to make sure that people are taken care of.
And that's what people are looking for nowadays. Like you said, there's so many options and so many things to kind of sift through. To have somebody with expert knowledge to kind of point them in the right direction is great. So how can our listeners go about getting a hold of you?
Of course, we're on all the social media platforms at Site Solutions, and Site is spelled with a C, C-I-T-E, Site Solutions. We are in the process of building out our little showroom. We just moved into a new unit in North Naples. So you'll be able to actually come in and touch and feel and see the circadian rhythm and the remote controls and experience the voice technology that we talked about once we get all that stuff online. You can also go to our website at site-solutions.com, and you can also call or text the office at 239-844-CITE, which is 2483.
Perfect. Jason, it's been a pleasure getting to know you and learn a little bit more about Site Solutions. Look forward to seeing you out in the community.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Estero. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpestero.com. That's gnpestero.com or call 239-296-2621.